Hey besties, it's Sarah. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a different type of sit down video. One of my absolute favorite pastimes is reading the subreddit Am I the Asshole? And so I thought it would be fun if we went through some of them today, but made it bookish. If you're not familiar with Reddit or Am I the Asshole, essentially it is a thread where people write in stories asking you if they are the asshole in their situation that they have going on. The topics of these stories really range. It can be work drama, family drama, relationship drama, all sorts of different scenarios that people find themselves in, and they just need the internet to tell them whether or not they're in the right or wrong. I thought it would be really fun if we put a book related spin on this, and so I went on the subreddit and I searched the word book and I just saved a bunch of them to go through with you guys, and we're just gonna sit here and decide whether or not these people are assholes or not. So feel free to follow along and make your own judgments, leave whatever you think in the comments down below, and we can just get into it. Okay, this one seems juicy. It says, am I the asshole for not taking down an X-rated book when my ex's girlfriend asked me to? Last year, I, 24 female, wrote an erotic novel to make some money on the side. It ended up picking up traction and makes a fair amount of sales every month. I'm not living off the income, but it helps pay some bills every month while I'm getting my master's. A lot of the book was inspired by my boyfriend at the time. He knew I was writing it, and it was often a joke between us that he, quote unquote, had to give me more to write about. He read the book before I self-published it and gave it his seal of approval. I wouldn't have published it if he'd been uncomfortable. The character doesn't resemble him in personality or appearance, and there are no hints that would give away who my inspiration was. I wrote under a fake name too, so it's unlikely to be traced back to him at all. We broke up 6 months ago, but we keep in touch. We've been friends for a while, and the split was mutual, so there were no hard feelings. I knew that he had started seeing someone over the summer, and I guess he told her about the book because she approached me at the library yesterday and asked me to take the book down. She said it makes her uncomfortable knowing that people can read details about our sex life. I asked her if my ex was uncomfortable with it, and she said that he was. I told her I would take it down. That night, I texted my ex and I told him I was sorry the book had made him uncomfortable and that I would take it down as soon as I could. He had no idea what I was talking about. He said it didn't make him uncomfortable and that I didn't need to take it down. He cracked some jokes about how he was glad I was still profiting from his hard work. When I told him his new girlfriend had approached me, he said she did think it was weird, but it wasn't her call. Today, I was eating lunch and the girl came up to me again. She started saying I was disrespectful for going behind her back to talk to her boyfriend. Side note, I talk to my ex semi-frequently anyways, and that I was disgusting for ever publishing the book. She also said it was gross I was involving other people in my exhibitionist kink unwillingly. I let her talk for a bit and then told her she was overreacting. I said I did it to make money, not because I derived pleasure from it, and that the book's publication is between me and my ex. It does not involve her. She called me a bitch and stormed off. I know it's kind of weird to have a book out there with details about me and my ex's sex life, but I don't really want to take it down because it's a good source of income. Am I the asshole? Although this one is spicy, I feel like the answer is very simple, that OP is not the asshole. Like, if the character is not named after the ex-boyfriend, doesn't bear any resemblance to him, and you use a pen name, what more could she want? If anything, I think the asshole in this story is the ex-boyfriend. Why the fuck would you tell your new girlfriend that your ex wrote a story about you, about the sex life? Like, that is weird to me. I feel like we're all pointing fingers at this girl. Like, yes, this girl is acting a little bit crazy, but why did this man tell his new girlfriend about it? I feel like he was bragging, like he wanted the new girlfriend to read it. Like, that is where I'm having a problem, especially if he keeps in contact with his ex, which is totally fine. Some people are okay with that. Like, if he and OP like to talk once in a while and catch up and the new girlfriend is okay with that, why would you make it weird by being like, oh yeah, you know that ex that I talk to sometimes, she wrote a really smutty sex book about us. I don't know. I have a bone to pick with the man in this story. So obviously new girlfriend has some issues, like emotionally, and maybe needs to speak to a therapist, but I'm still wondering why the ex-boyfriend would even tell his new girlfriend that. Like, that is really weird behavior, because of course the new girlfriend's going to look it up. Like, yes, she's acting out of pocket, like she's acting weird, she's definitely overstepping by constantly coming up to OP and trying to get her to take down the book, but what do you expect your new girlfriend to do? OP actually added an edit to her post and she said, some answers to questions. I don't know why he told her about the book. Since the post, I've told him it's something I would like to keep between the two of us. I feel like if anyone in my master's program found out, I'll be taken much less seriously. Exactly, finally, thank you. I must not have scrolled scrolled enough, clearly there were other people calling this out too. His behavior was weird. If you're interested in self-publishing, try Amazon and do reading about keywords. There are a ton of blogs on it. People in the comments were trying to be like, hey, yeah, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. By the way, can you give me advice on self-publishing? Like, literally use Google. And then she gave an update and said, this morning I was getting a coffee in the student center and the girl walked up to me and started screaming at me. Apparently she and my ex broke up and she blamed it on me. I guess it's fair that the ex broke up with her because this girl has been acting a little strange and a little stalkery with OP. I was shaking and I called my ex again. He ended up coming to sit in my car with me until I calmed down. We considered calling the campus police, but I didn't want to explain it to them, so he walked me back inside. She was there, but when she saw me with my ex, she didn't yell. She burst into tears and said she knew he was cheating. He told her to leave me alone, he hadn't cheated, and that he broke up with her because she was too jealous and immature. That is a fair assessment. Again, I still don't understand why he would have told her to begin with, but I guess this revealed her true colors and now he doesn't have to date her anymore. Okay, the title of this one really got me. Am I the asshole for reading A Court of Thorns and Roses to my 3-year-old? My husband, male 27, and I have been together for 8 years, married for 4. We have a little girl who absolutely loves being read to. She's obsessed with books. She grabs random ones off the shelves in our house and claims to be reading them and will bring them to me and ask me to read them to her. She's just starting to be able to read her baby books too and will sit next to me on the couch and quote unquote read next to me. I work from home, but my husband works roughly half the year on, half off-ish, like a month or two on, a month or two off, etc. He makes enough money that we'd be absurdly comfortable on just his salary, so it's worth it for him to be gone so much. Plus, he loves his job, but this means that when he's not around, he misses out on a lot, namely our reading. I, female 26, love the Court of Thorns and Roses series. I spotted it in a bookstore when it had just come out and have been obsessed with it ever since. I reread the series regularly, which is how this came about. My husband has been on for the last month and a half. During one of his first trips away, my daughter woke up from her nap and saw the Court of Thorns and Roses books I'd left on the couch and asked me to read it to her, so I did. Those of you who have read the series know that there are inappropriate scenes, so of course I've been censoring those parts for her. Oh, he got a boo-boo, or skipping them entirely. She loves it and asks constantly if we can read about Farah. My husband has read the book. He knows parts of it are inappropriate. So when he came home a few days ago and saw me reading it to her, he freaked out. Once I put her down for a nap, he went off asking me how I could read her daughter something so horrid. I told him I was censoring things, of course, but that since she and I loved the book, I didn't see an issue with it. He got more upset, so I told him he was overreacting and that if he wanted to read to her, he could do so. This was a low blow since she does not like him reading to her since he doesn't do voices / storytell since he hates reading and it's a chore for him. He called me an asshole and said I'm going to quote unquote ruin our daughter. I asked him what he meant and he said reading her a book quote unquote like that would turn her into a slut when she got older. I was floored. Me too, bestie, me too. My sweet husband has never ever said anything like that about anyone, much less our daughter. We've had our disagreements, but never anything like this. I told him that if he ever spoke about our daughter like that again, or God forbid said something like that directly to her, I would make sure he never saw her again. He glared at me and said he was going to his brother's house. He came back at night to say goodnight to our daughter, but then left again right after she was asleep. His massive reaction has me wondering if I'm the asshole. I've never seen him react so badly to anything. There's a lot to unpack here. I think that the husband is definitely overreacting and acting quite out of pocket. Overreacting to the point where I'm like, does he have something that he's ashamed about? Like, you know how sometimes people project when they've done something wrong? Like, did he do something while he was away on a business trip? If OP is telling the truth and she is absolutely censoring any bad scenes out and making sure there's something sexual in what she's reading, then I guess the rest of the story is fine. Imagine growing up and people being like, what was your favorite childhood book? And you're like, A Court of Thorns and Roses. I will say I could see this being an issue if when the daughter starts to be able to actually read, like when she's like 5 or 6 and she can actually read words, that she's gonna want to read A Court of Thorns and Roses herself and the mom's gonna have to be like, no, you can't read that. Like, she's gonna have to literally like get a PDF of the book and like censor it physically herself and then like bind it again for her daughter to read that copy. Because when I was like 6 or 7, that's when I started reading Harry Potter. Like, I was reading pretty big books when I was in like 1st and 2nd grade. So she's gonna be up to speed pretty quickly if she's already learning to read at age 3. So I don't know, she might want to like think about this for the future. Oh my god, somebody in the comments had the same thought as me. They said, this is sus. Is he having an affair? Whenever someone behaves out of usual character and for the worse, it's usually because that person is up to no good and guilt and projection have started. That is what I said! We think alike, Drusilla 14. I think ultimately OP is not the asshole, and I think if she's genuinely censoring this book, then her daughter should be fine. But my biggest concern is that the daughter is going to be able to read chapter books pretty quickly, and if she's really connected to these characters, like if she loves Feyre and Rhysand and all these little people in A Court of Thorns and Roses, then she's gonna want to try to read it herself. So I don't know how OP is going to manage that. Like maybe if OP says like these are special books that we can only read together, and then lets her read all the sex scenes like when she's like 15 or 16. I don't really know. These days kids are reading smutty books really young. One of my best friends is a middle school teacher, and she told me that she saw 7th graders carrying around different Sarah J Maas books and Colleen Hoover books, and I was like, oh, imagine being like literally 12 and reading those sex scenes. I cannot. When I was that young, I was reading like Twilight, and I thought the makeout scenes were really steamy, so I can't even imagine what I would have been doing if I had gotten my hands on real sex scenes. If my daughter or child saw A Court of Thorns and Roses and were like, "Mommy, what's that?" I'd be like, "It's a textbook about physics." Like, I would just lie, because why does a 3-year-old have to read this? I don't know. I just feel like OP wanted to read about Rhysand and Tamlin to her daughter. I don't know, it was weird. I actually have to go soon for a friend's birthday dinner, so we're gonna read one more and then we're gonna close out the video. So we're gonna end on one that I found kind of funny. It made me laugh. It says, "Am I the asshole for asking my uncle to change his name on Goodreads? There are 8 people in the world with the same last name as me, at least with the exact same spelling, and every single one of them is closely related to me by blood. With so few of us, it is inevitable that when you search up one, you get search results about the other. An unfun fact I found when I searched up my mom to find out how long she worked at her current company, the coworker asked and they said they could only confirm how long she was in the department. On the first page of results was my uncle's Goodreads. He and I are friends on Facebook, so when I found it under his full name, from full first to middle to last, I didn't think anything of checking it out. Now I get that people are into different things they're into. And really, as long as everyone is a consenting adult, then I figure it's not my business. However, most of the books on his read list was incest smut. A lot were non-consensual. All of them were ones I wouldn't want to know my uncle was reading. Why did I keep looking, you might ask? Because apparently I wanted to suffer and morbid curiosity. Anyway, maybe I'm a bit of a prude about this, but I don't love how easy it was to find, or that it came up when searching my mom, not him. Meaning it probably comes up when you search for me, even if it isn't on the first page of results. I have always been careful about what I post online. I never really thought to consider what my family posts online and how easily we are connected with a search. I mean, like I said, maybe I'm a prude about this, but I don't really want friends, employers, etc. searching me up and finding my uncle's kinks instead. These ones in particular. So I sent him a message on Facebook asking if he could use a shortened version of his last name like he literally does on Facebook, and let him know how easily it came up, and suggested that he may not want his coworkers to find those things either. He got so mad at me. He said it wasn't any of my business, that I didn't have a right to tell him what to do, that if I was so concerned about it, I should just change my name, and that his followers would be confused if he changed his name on there. My aunt then sent me a text saying that it was inappropriate to look at his Goodreads and that I wouldn't want him going through my room, so why did I think it was okay to go through his things? It's literally on the internet, sir! But it isn't like it was personal private property. It's a public account on the internet with his real full name. They host Christmas at their house every year, and this year I've been uninvited. I don't even really want to go. We have a variety of other issues, so this is not really related. Not that this helps. So it isn't even like I feel like I'm messing out, but the level of their reaction is making me wonder if I'm the asshole for bringing it up and asking him to use a shortened version of our last name. Can't, I'm speechless. I would be concerned if I was related to this man because he keeps reading about non-consensual incest books. Also, it's making me think long and hard about the videos I put on the internet. I have quite a few videos of me reading like dark romance, monster romance, etc. and talking about the sex in them. It's fine. Coworkers, if you're watching this is who I am. I can't say that I would be particularly into incest books though. It sounds a bit scarring to me. I guess you can't really expect him to change his behavior because he seems pretty proud of it, but I find it funny that he's like, how dare you go through my public Goodreads where I post about how much I love non-consensual incest books. I also find it very funny that his wife is like defending him. Like if I was his wife who was not related to him by blood, I'd be concerned that he wouldn't be into me. So I don't know why she's like texting her niece being like, who cares what your uncle does? I am proud of him. Also, he says, how dare you go through my Goodreads? Also, if I change my name, my followers will be confused. Are your followers like really just like waiting with bated breath to hear what you thought about like this rapey, non-consensual, like smutty incest book? Like he must be getting a lot out of Kindle Unlimited every month. Like he must be really just like on his e-reader, just like really digging into the smuttiest of smutty To be quite honest, I would not be upset that I was uninvited from family Christmas. I would probably uninvite myself. I would not go near this man with a 10-foot pole. I probably would get a restraining order. But let me know down below if you liked this concept, if you thought it was fun, if you are also someone that loves reading Am I the Asshole. And if you've never read Am I the Asshole before, I hope that I introduced you into a new way to waste time. Billy also found some of the people in these stories to be kind of upsetting people. Like, what are they doing? Why are they acting like this? If you enjoyed this video, feel free to use one of the dog emojis in honor of Billy, since she joined us at the end of the video here. But Billy and I thank you all so much for watching. You're all beautiful. Have a nice day.